Welcome, everyone. Wow, I am so impressed at the turnout that we have here today. This is amazing. Thank you all for showing up on a Wednesday morning. As we're all piecing everything together with Zoom calls, who knew a month and a half ago, that this is how we'd all be doing business? And scrambling now, as we all are, to try to kind of piece things back together, and knowing that a lot of it we're going to have to do ourselves. So this is kind of a last minute switch of a topic. I was originally going to do a top 5 for all of those of you who follow top 5s. My topic was originally on networking. Great idea, something none of us can do right now. So this is a topic that I've been working on, and I'm actually developing a kit on a detailed how-to work with these tools that I'm going to talk with you about today. So at the end of this, I'll give you some instructions for how to get that in the future. But nonetheless, I want you to know that you can do your own marketing and have it look like a pro did it without actually having to hire one yet. So the secrets are starting with the right pieces, building it the right way, and then following a few rules that the pros kind of know. And then I really want you to be able to have tools, your marketing components in place, so that when you do hire a pro, and I hope I'm on that short list for you someday, that your materials are in such a state that you can turn them over to a pro and not have to have them rebuild anything. So that's the other bit of information that I want to share with you here, is that these tools that I'm going to share with you give you a good base, not only for what you're going to do for yourself, but also make it easy for you to work with pros down the road. So let's get started. Before you can really start building your materials, you're going to have to do a little thinking and some homework. Let's start with that. In the beginning, I want you to understand your why. What is it about your business that is valuable to someone else? We've got to develop your marketing story. So I want you to start with just a brain dump. I want you to write everything down, why it is you started this business, what you feel is valuable about it, what you offer to the world, how the world will benefit from what you offer, what they did before you came along. Just dump it all out. I don't care how long it is, because in your next step, you're going to edit that down. You're going to edit it into what we call a brand story. This is essentially your origin story. It's maybe 3-4 paragraphs long, and it's going to talk about why it is you started what you did, what you're bringing to the world, and what that value is. As succinctly as you can, just take that brain dump and start editing and rewriting it down. 3 or 4 paragraphs. Then I want you to take those 3 or 4 paragraphs and I want you to edit them down to 2 or 3 sentences. So if you've got a sentence on why you started, what it is you do, who you do it for, and then your third sentence is on what they get out of that, that's your elevator pitch. And from there, I want you to edit it down to a single hook, or 3 or 4. By a hook, I mean it's your marketing message. This starts to become copy you can use in your collateral and marketing. It's things such as, if a benefit for working with you is, say for instance, one of my marketing hooks, or if I could have a bit of an elevator pitch, it would be something about, I love working with small businesses. I love startups. I love the passion that they have. I love helping them grow. And I've built an entire business around growing businesses from very small, less than 50-person companies to those that are now international and over 5,000. What I offer for that is I empathize with where they are. And I've built an agency that is right-sized to help them. So that's part of my hook. My hook is creative services right-sized for a single person. Starts to make sense? That's what I need you to do. You're developing your why. You've got those pieces in place. This is like baking a cake. These are your dry ingredients. Assemble that, set it aside. Now we're going to work on your look. I want you to create a style board. You can use Pinterest. You can use a piece of cardboard. You can use a file folder you just dump things into. But I want you to start to gather visual references for what the words you just came up with look like. It can be photographs. It can be typography, the way words look. It can be colors. It can be something that just evokes a mood. It can be anything. But I want you to put all that together, excuse me, and look at it as a whole. And from there, I want you to edit it down to just a few. So I want you to pick out 2 or 3 photos that visually represent what it is you're trying to do. A handful of colors, maybe 4, and 2 main typefaces. If it's a fancy typeface like a script, then you definitely need a second one that's a standard, very readable font. Make sense? Once you've got your look, set that aside. It's time to talk about who you're working for. Call them your audience, call them your market, call them your tribe. I want you to understand everything you can about them. Make a list of all of the different groups you serve. If it's demographics of people, list that out. If there's enough difference between them, list each of them separately. I want you to think about what they do, where you'll find them, maybe what their purchasing journeys are. If you saw them walking through the O'Hare Airport, how would you recognize them? I seriously want you to get it down to that bit. Find magazine photos that you think look like that person and name them. So that when you see somebody walking through the O'Hare Airport, you go, ah, there goes David. I would bet dollars to donuts. He owns a small business. He's 45 years old. He's got 2 kids at home and he probably coaches soccer on the weekends. You know, everything you can about him. Know where they shop, what else they do in life. Because that's going to help you reach them through marketing later. Make sense? So as part of this knowing who your tribe is, I also want you to do a little research on how many of them there are in the region that you plan to do business in. If you're only going to do business locally, I want you to know how many of those folks there are in your local area. And then I want you to get a little creative and to estimate how much you think each of them would spend with you, or what percentage of them would work with you. Here's why. I want you to do the math. This is a place I see solopreneurs fall down when they're doing their marketing more ways than one. Your marketing can carry you a long way, but it won't fix bad math. If your market's not large enough, if you don't know how to reach your prospects, or you don't know how much they're going to spend with you, or you don't know how long it's going to take before they actually make a purchase, you don't know how much money you're going to make. And you need to know how much money you're going to make and how valuable each customer will be to you to know how to set a budget for your marketing. Your marketing is based on the lifetime value of every customer. Lifetime value is the amount they will spend with you over the course of their relationship with you. If they're going to buy once and go away, then that's all the longer their lifetime value is. If they can keep coming back and purchase and purchase and purchase from you, maybe it's a subscription service, it's a membership, or you have ways to continue to grow and encourage them to make additional purchases or cross-sell them into other purchases, then they have a longer lifetime value. You can count on about 10% of your customer lifetime value to go toward your marketing. If you're spending more than that, you're starting to cut into the money that probably needs to cover your overhead, salaries, and operations for growth and research and development. Make sense? Once you've done this, you know your math, you know you've got a viable business that you can indeed make money on, and you know enough about that tribe to be able to find them. I want you to look at your competition. This is your last piece. Look at all of your competition, not just who's offering what you are doing now, but what someone is doing even if what you offer has never been done before. If you have a new industry, a new product category that's, you're the iPhone that no one has built before, I want you to think about how they've been getting along without you all this time, because that becomes your competition. Make a list of them, research them. Who is their audience? All of those pieces that you went through, I want you to have an idea of for your competition. What do you think their vision board, their brand style board looks like? Who is their audience and market? What's their origin story? What's their why? And are you different? You have to have two things in marketing to really stand out. You have to be relevant. And in other words, you have to be valuable, something people want and need, but you also have to be distinctive enough that you don't disappear into the sea of noise of the competition. After you've done this, you've looked at all of that competition, is there anything you need to adjust now to be able to be more relevant or distinctive? Do you need to pick a different color palette? Have you gotten in there and seen that, frankly, everybody in your industry is blue and green? Maybe it's time to not be blue and green. Have you gotten in there and discovered that every single vendor within there says we are an independent agency offering fill in the blank? Then those are words you really don't want to use. Make sense? Make any adjustments. And now you're ready. By this point, you've got what's referred to as a value proposition. That's essentially that work you did on your why. A marketplace study. That's the work you did on your tribe. You've got some marketing strategy because you've done the homework and the math. You know how many sales you have to make, when you have to make them, how much each person is going to be worth to you, and how much you can spend to make that happen. And you've got some goals and metrics based on that to really judge your marketing going forward. You've done your homework, and at this point, essentially, you've got a marketing plan. It's time to start building your marketing tools. The first thing you're going to do is start to build your visual tools. For that, I recommend the tool canva.com. We build Canva accounts for many of our clients because it's simple to use, it's free, and it's so flexible. And it's flexible enough that you can do a lot of things, but not so flexible that you get yourself in trouble. Within Canva, you can build a logo. The little pull-out image on the screen right now is actually off their logo page. They have dozens and dozens of logos in there that you can go into and edit for you. You can copy and paste the icon or symbol from one onto the typography of another. You can change fonts and colors, and then you can save them. And they're saved in that little tab called All Your Designs. Within that tab, when you save a design, you can rename it so you can remember what that design was for. And then you can pick up and copy and paste those things into other future tools. Canva is ideal for anything in a digital output format. You can output directly from Canva into your social media. You can build elements for your website. You can build PowerPoint images. It's fabulous for that. But Canva also is powerful enough to allow you to export for print media as well. So you can go in there and create flyers and handouts and do an export for print. It will automatically convert the color palette to print colors, which are in what's called cyan, yellow, magenta, and black, otherwise known as CMYK. And it will give crop marks and bleed marks to make that art into something a print shop can work with. You'll look like a pro because you're going to show up with art that has bleeds, is already color corrected, and has crop marks. It's a pretty slick tool for free. If you want to step up, you can buy a professional membership. I think it's $25 a month, and it allows you to actually build it's within the brand kit drop down that you see there in the navigation on the left. It allows you to store fonts and some other pieces within there, but you honestly don't need it. You can still upload, if you already have a logo, you can upload your own logo into Canva and it'll save it in the uploads folder. Just know that logos need to be a transparent background, and that's for them, they prefer a PNG, referred to as a PNG file, but photos can be JPEGs. So get into Canva, make yourself an account. You can tie it to your Facebook if that's easiest for you, and start to play. It's fabulous. Remember, you're basing your designs in Canva on that visual study work you did in the second step. Look for 2 fonts that match those fonts you loved. Canva uses Google Fonts, and 2 to 4 colors that you're going to use consistently. From Canva, the next step is start to build your website. Granted, websites are not the easiest, and you need to reserve some time to work through these. But my recommendation is that you build a professional website from the beginning. If you have a Wix site or a Squarespace site, those are easy to work with, and I understand why people build them. But going long-term for your business, neither are a workable format. I encourage you to build a WordPress site from the beginning that you can turn over to a pro when the time comes. WordPress makes it easy to build e-commerce sites. There are hundreds of plugins and integrations available for WordPress. It's really a format that is secure and flexible going forward. It can be a little intimidating and it can seem expensive, but what I recommend is Bluehost. If you open a Bluehost account, it's $3.95 a month. This is the only thing that's not 100% free, but it's so reasonable. And then open the account, purchase your domain, and start a WordPress basic account. They tie together so easily between the two. It's amazing. And we build a lot of these for clients and work with a lot of different domains and hosting companies. And it can be a beast, but I promise you WordPress makes it simple. There are 5 free themes within Bluehost that you can use for your site. They're not fancy, but they're easy to work with. You'll have dimensions for the graphics, the little holes where you drop in an image at the top or half-page images. You'll make those images in Canva and export them so that you can put them into your WordPress site. That's the reason you want to start with your Canva, build some of those pieces, and build it into your WordPress. Trust me, Bluehost is the simplest way to go. And I'm not an affiliate for any of this. I get nothing for any of this. It's just my advice to you. It's the simplest way to work. Now it's time to start to build a presence in social. I recommend social because it is still free advertising. If you can work within their organic systems, that just means the daily posting that you do, start to talk to your audiences that way, it's completely free. You can use the native scheduler within Facebook to be able to schedule some posts, but you'll still have to live post within Instagram and Twitter. There is no native scheduler for those tools right now. But if you would like to step up a little bit, Hootsuite is a wonderful tool to be able to manage your social in all of those platforms, and including LinkedIn and others. Hootsuite is valuable, and it does make it super simple when you only have one place to go to be able to see all of your different media feeds, manage conversations, how are people commenting, who shared, what's working, what's not working. Hootsuite's a little bit more expensive. It's about $25 a month. You certainly don't have to go there. You can continue to use the native apps, but nothing beats free for advertising when you're just starting out, and social is the way to do it. If you want to spend a little money in your social, I recommend you start by boosting your posts. Even $25 to boost a post will help it get to a larger audience and can help you build audience beyond the ones you already have. You can boost a post and set it to reach out to friends of friends or even audiences that aren't your friends yet or followers. So $25 a month just to boost one of your posts a month, or $25 a month to spend it on Hootsuite. It's money well spent. Once you do start to have some contacts, you've got to talk to them. I recommend MailChimp because it's free for lists less than, I believe it's still a 2,000 address cap. MailChimp is really easy to work with. They have responsive email templates. They have a landing page system. Heck, they'll even send out postcards for you within MailChimp now. We have clients that use it for their customer management system so that you can actually go in there, you can keep notes on customers, everything within your MailChimp account. The landing pages, if you're not familiar with that term and how that works, you can set up a page within MailChimp that will have a form on it that people can sign up to either receive your emails or other emailed information. Maybe you've got a white paper you're downloading or some kind of gift or benefit that you're going to deliver to them through email. Maybe it's a video link, something. But you can create those landing pages for people to sign up to receive those things within MailChimp. It's really quite robust, very, very easy to use, and again, free. Of course, all your marketing isn't digital. If you're doing any trade shows, God bless if we ever get to again, you're going to need banners, booth materials, handouts, etc. We can still send mail, thank God. So you may have materials you're sending out via snail mail. And let me tell you, mail in a mailbox still works. It's expensive to send because of the postage expense, but there's not the competition in that physical mailbox that there is in an email box anymore. I mean, I get 200 emails a day, but I bet I get 4 pieces of mail. So if you're sending something in the mail that's a little different, maybe it's a pocket folder, it's got some of your information, it's a little box, it's a valuable, powerful way to do marketing. And these tools can help. Vistaprint is terrific for print. We use it for business cards for our clients a lot. I do recommend that if you're using Vistaprint and you're able to step up to a little bit of expense, pop for their premium papers. Premiums are a thicker weight paper and it's a little nicer surface. It really makes a difference. Make your graphics for Vistaprint in Canva. If you load into Vistaprint, even though you can export with crop marks out of Canva, don't do that for Vistaprint. Vistaprint assumes that you're not a pro and that you don't know about things like bleed and crop marks. So you can load pretty much your native print file with CMYK output into Vistaprint, and that'll work for you for your business cards, handouts, menus, door hangers, all of that can be done out of Vistaprint. We use Print Runner for larger format things, particularly pocket folders. They're still pricey, maybe $7 a piece when you're doing only 50 of them. But it's very difficult to get that small of a quantity anyplace else and still have some really nice output. Print Runner is a great resource for it. If you want gifts, little swag, giveaways, some fun little thing you're going to stick in a little box and mail, 4imprint has everything from t-shirts to coffee mugs to USB drives and everything else that you can put your logo on. Lots of great ideas. We've used them for coffee mugs. We've used them for trade show flags and banners and pop-ups. All 3 of these companies I've had great experience with. Their customer service is strong. They follow up on orders. If you've got any question or any problem, you can actually call them and talk with somebody. So I have vetted all of these folks, and I can tell you, you won't go wrong with working with any of them. Again, you'll build your art for them within Canva. Vistaprint and Print Runner do have some templates that you can use. Vistaprint especially for like a 3-panel brochure, though I have found the designs are a little dated and not super friendly to work with. Get some inspiration from them, but I still recommend you use Canva. It'll keep your fonts consistent, your colors consistent, and those things will be important when you're looking at your marketing overall to be able to look like a pro. So those are 5 tools that you're going to work with: Canva, Bluehost, Hootsuite, or any of your native social apps, MailChimp, and any of those print resources. So let's talk about a few tips to help you Make sure that everything you produce within those tools looks as professional as possible. One of the main things, keep it simple. I truly want you to limit the number of colors and the number of fonts you work with. Seriously, you're going to feel like you're bored with everything long before your customer will. You're going to be tempted to change it up. Don't. Keep everything not only simple in terms of the amount of things you're using in your graphics, but also in the amount of information on your page. I want you to have one headline, couple of paragraphs of copy. I want you to have a clear call to action, one call to action. Anytime you produce marketing, I want you to ask yourself, what is the one thing I want someone to know, and what do I want them to do when they know that? One thing, not 5 or 6, one thing. And then I want you to learn to embrace white space. White space is the area where nothing is happening on that page. Learn to love it. Do not fill every square inch of your graphics. That's one of the first things that will make you look like an amateur. Let your work breathe. When you can, I want you to pop for premium. When it comes to that paper, in Vistaprint, if you're building your website and you want to stand out just a little bit more, you can spend $47 for a theme within WordPress and have hundreds to choose from. And you may find one of those themes that pretty well gives you a pattern you're going to just copy and use. It does make building that website easier if you have essentially holes you're just going to fill. So that can help if you're judicious with how you spend your money when you can pop for some premium. And then as you go, I want you to check everything against that work you did in the beginning. Check everything against your plan. Will it appeal to your tribe? Are you still talking to David that you can check out from a crowd in the O'Hare airport? Will David love it? Does it match the feel and the look that you were going for when you originally pulled out all those images that you got excited about? Does it communicate your story? And moreover, do you still stand out against the competition? Make some sense? Cool. I've got maybe 5 more minutes here before we start some Q&A, so I've got a few extra tips I'm going to share with you now. 1, consistency is key. As you're building all of these different pieces, your social media graphics, your website, your handouts, and a 3-panel brochure, I want them to be consistent across all of them. It comes back to that using the same colors, using the same fonts, using your logo in the same way. Consistency and integration of that brand story will help you look like a pro, especially if it's simple. 2, empathy is king. The more you can put yourself in your customer's shoes and match your marketing to where they are, the more powerful it will be. If you can use the language that they use, if you're talking to a younger generation, use their lingo. If you're talking to an older generation, use the language in the way they would. Relevance is critical. You do need to do multiple exposures of something. In advertising, they say it can take up to 9 times of someone seeing something before they remember it. However, if that message doesn't resonate with the person, 9 times isn't even enough. But if when you put your message out there, they're ready to hear it and it is appropriate for where they are, it's hitting their pain points, it's making their life better, your message will stick with them so much better. So empathy is critical. 3, be unique or risk being forgotten. If you're boring, you'll just blend into the woodwork. So as you're putting your materials together, even though you're going to keep it simple and you're going to stay very consistent, don't be afraid to be a little bit bold. Especially if you're new in the business, you're coming in as a bit of a disruptor. And what of us, when we're solopreneurs starting off, aren't trying to be a little bit disruptive? Get a little bit bold. If you're sending a direct mail piece, maybe it's oversized. If you're picking a headline, don't just say, here's the information you can use. Put it in some words that's a little eye-catching. Get that point of differentiation across. Just be distinctive. What do you do that no one else does? Do that. So those are my tips for you today. The 5 tools you can work with that are pretty much free. Some ways you can use them to really start to look like a pro. I will tell you, we're working on, through my company, a full kit that you'll be able to download and walk you through these tools so that you can really set them up piece by piece. It also has a company, it's an imaginary company that I've used to demonstrate all of these tools and even show you how I've created the brand story, what the difference between professional created logos that we built for this company and the logo we built within Canva. So it's got the full branding for this imaginary company. The company is called Safflower Cafe. So it's a little cafe that I pretended would be really cool to open someday. Who knows? And that will be available for you, I would say, I'm hoping, early next month. If you're interested, drop me an email. I think they're going to put my email in the chat. And drop me an email. It's also here on your screen. And I will send you the information on how to get your hands on that kit. That's what I have for you today. I'd love to answer your questions. Do you want to stick them in the chat? And I think Mike or Meg will do some moderating for me.
Yep, I will take care of that. Looks like we do still have some time for questions. So yeah, please use the chat feature. We're going to leave your microphones on mute at this time. And we'll try to get to as many of these questions as time allows. Looks like the first question in chat is, can CRM stuff developed in MailChimp easily be migrated to a more robust tool like Salesforce at a later time, or do you have to redo it by hand for other options?
No, you can export out of MailChimp your all of your CRM information and import it into an Excel or something. You can always then export a CSV file into any other format you want.
Okay, what are your thoughts on Squarespace or Wix if you don't anticipate using the e-commerce components? Are there specific problems that you may run into?
Yeah, the biggest problem is neither of those are super for SEO. If you're not familiar with the term SEO, search engine optimization is the ranking information behind the search engines such as Google that determines who ends up on that first page if you type in a search request, who ends up on there is all determined by the analytics within what they call search engine optimization. Neither of those formats are great for search engine optimization, so it's hard for you to be found organically by people with either of those. They're also difficult to create robust sites. So after you get beyond a 3 or 4 page website, they just start to fall apart. Now, if you're just starting off, you don't think you're going to be any bigger than, a solopreneur for the next 2 or 3 years, Squarespace is fine. Particularly artists and photographers and so forth. I think Squarespace is an easy format to work with. Their portfolio capabilities are robust. They make it really easy. Wix is a comfortable site because it functions very much like a regular page layout program. But it also, because it's like a page layout program and every page is a new page, it's hard to have a consistent site. So things can jump around, you can lose the user experience, and long story short, end up with what looks like an amateur website, with Wix in particular. Squarespace doesn't have that problem as much, but it just won't grow with you long term. If you want to really link to your MailChimp, if you want to do more robust campaigns down the road, I really encourage you to just tough it out and build a WordPress site.
Any other questions for Sally? We're on. What is the mistake you see people make?
Wow. That mistake of getting bored with your materials before your customer is probably the biggest mistake. People say, oh, we used this photo on the poster and it's already in the brochure and I've got it on my website and I just think we need to do something different. Don't you think we need to change this up? No, don't. Keep it consistent. If you want to make changes, there are ways to make subtle changes that extend your identity and your brand style without changing it. That's the biggest thing. And then the second biggest thing I see people do that looks amateur is filling every space. You're not paying by the square inch. Go ahead and let some of it be empty. It's much, much more powerful.
Okay, and have another question here. Does your company have experience in creating media kits?
Sure, I sure do. So by media kits, are you referring to like a pocket folder that has information that you're trying to send the media? Tell me what you're looking for a media kit and how I can help you create that on your own. I'm sure that's kind of what you're asking for here, is how can I help you create a media kit?
It looks digital media kits for public speaking.
Digital kits, super. Well, this is where having your WordPress website will be really helpful because yes, I build sections on websites that provide that information for speakers, resources that speakers can use. Within that area, you're going to provide social media graphics that they can download, some copy that they can use in emails for you, any of the resources that you want them to have to be able to do some promoting for you, especially when you're digital media kits for speakers. It sounds like you're doing some like an interview series or something where you're enlisting folks to essentially be your advocates or work for you or be a part of your marketing program as you move forward. So yes, build those pieces, create those elements within Canva. You can generate your copy. Of course, it doesn't have to be within MailChimp when you write it. You're just going to provide it on that page within your website and make them available as downloads. One of the things that I use as another free tool, we haven't really gotten into it here, but you can use Dropbox to be able to, or really any of your cloud formats, Google Drive, any of those, to be able to provide a link to graphics or a link to a folder of graphics and information for those speakers so that they can access that within your website. And if you would like more coaching or information about it, certainly reach out to me directly.
Great. Any tips for video usage in the early stages?
Ask me that again, Mike. I'm sorry, I was reading a different chat at that time.
Oh, sorry. Any tips for video usage at the early stages?
Oh, video usage. Well, yes. Video usage or video creation. Let's see. Video usage. I would say the answer to that question is yes, do it. We've seen in the social media that anything that moves gets much higher engagement than anything that's still. So as you're building your organic social media, if you can incorporate video, do it. As you're putting together your website, if you can drop a video in there, do it. Video is a powerful tool. I also encourage you to create a YouTube channel of your own, make that part of your social media mix, and post your videos in there. YouTube, they say, is now the second largest search engine in the world. People go there first, especially looking for how-to information. So if you've got video that really speaks to self-improvement or how to do something, that's the first place people are going for that kind of information. And it's important to be there. If you're looking for information about how to create a better video, that's a different talk. I do have a blog on our website. You can go to coopersmithco.com, and we've got some information on some tips for creating video, podcasts, and even Zoom conferences within there.
Okay, and just as an add-on to that prior question, any tools you'd recommend? I guess we can probably break it down to existing video footage. Any sites or any recommendations that people can go to find those things?
Okay, so let's talk about a couple of sites here. I'm trying to give you resources that are free. So when you're looking for free, if you're looking for free footage that you can drop in, I don't know that I've got a resource for that, though resources such as iStock Photo, or if you have access to the Adobe library of videos, you can purchase some stock video really pretty affordably. For maybe $15 to $30, you can get some clips of video that you can drop into pieces. Honestly, you can play with Giphy.com. I have downloaded some little pieces out of Giphy, created some edits, and used those within social media. If you really, though, are looking for editing tools within your video, I don't have any great free resources for you. At that point, you're starting to really step up, and we use the Adobe suites of Final Cut Pro and Premiere and Photoshop to be able to really do our buildings within that. I hope that answers the question.
Because I would agree. I know we use actually personally, I use a site called Pond5.
Oh, sure.
For video and music and things like that. Very right. Similar to the ones that you've already mentioned.
Yep, I use Pond5 as well.
And then to wrap up, doesn't look like there are any other questions, but I will say there is a kudos from Sherry Clark. She says that she uses you for her marketing, and it's been great. And so definitely a great recommendation from Sherry to any of you that may be looking to consider using Sally and her services and the things that she offers. Real quick for the Pond5 website, it's pond and the number 5.com for Jeff out there. Okay, well, I think we're going to wrap up here. Sally, want to thank you for joining us today. And just to let all of you out there know, this will be available on our website. Give us a little bit to get the video together, but a replay of this will be available for you to check out. And again, referring back to our website for any upcoming events, you can find those there as well. dsmpartnership.com/events. Sally, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, guys, have a great day.